and he was somebody that was supposed to love me and I was supposed to trust. So I went on and went through my life like that, thinking love was about touch. I didn't know it came from within at all. I had no clue.
But even when you mastered that, you ended up discovering about sex addiction.
And then when I mastered that through my awakening, it took me almost 10 months to go through my awakening because of my root system. I was stuck in my root system. I'm sorry for what you've been through. Yeah, my father was always in and out of jail, but I've had some good father figures throughout. Now my father and I are closer. That's wonderful. I tried to share the new me and my awakening that I went through with my father and trying to build a relationship because he's an elder man now. But all he did was tell me was to keep my skeletons in a closet and get down on my knees and say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," and leave it at that. He did not want me to get better. He did not want me to get help. I was in therapy for years. I was on every antidepressant you can think of and anxiety med. I had high blood pressure. And since my husband awakened me, I've been off every medication. I now have normal blood pressure. I do not have to take any antidepressants. I do not have to take any anxiety. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I had to go through the awakening. I had hit rock bottom. I had lived a very destructive life. Because when you're violated at such a young age, you keep on with that behavior. And I ended up being a victim of several things.
Sex and ghost energies.
And especially when I was a teen. I'm 39 now. When I was a teen, I was very active, was very promiscuous because I thought that that's the only way somebody would like me. Because that's how it was shown in my home. Like, I lived in a very sexualized home. It was a very unhealthy environment. And on top of that, being adopted into that environment, it was an absolute complete nightmare. Especially with a narcissistic mother that you couldn't tell her the truth about anything. Yeah, I learned I had anxiety from my mother. I used to pick my lips really bad from a young age, even still, but a lot less now. Me too, see? I did the same thing, and I still find myself doing it. So, I totally understand. Like, I honestly do. And I'm sorry for what you've gone through with your life. And having a narcissistic mother is very hard. And especially one that gives no empathy, like mine gave no empathy at all. But what I found out through this journey, and of course, when you're going through awakenings, you have epiphanies. Epiphanies that hit you hard, and it makes you realize and understand life, that you were given the wrong foundation, that you were shown wrong. But I had an epiphany the other day that I did not get to choose my own sexuality. Basically, I was shown at a very young age, which I followed. I never even knew things that I liked or how I wanted to be touched or how I was supposed to feel. I read a book called Healing and Understanding for Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers. Okay, I'll have to check that out. And I took a yoga teacher training for trauma-sensitive yoga. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Those have helped me a lot. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. My husband, he helps me a lot through my trauma. He helped me a lot through my trauma, but I'm interested in reading the book, and I have been thinking about doing yoga. So, I will seriously check that out. But, with me, my husband basically raised me from a 5-year-old child to an adult. So, the awakening was very hard. I I was stuck in my roots. I was stuck in my belief system that was false. So, and then also what I was talking earlier about my sexuality is I had realized that my sexual preference, everything was not mine. It was somebody else's. I didn't realize that a connection was not from a touch or a feeling, that it came within. I didn't even realize what the meaning of love was till this awakening. It was very hard. But what I figured out with my sexual addiction and my sexual preference is when you're with somebody that you're not connected with, you're not one with, I was getting the energy of everyone else that they had been with. So I was getting what we call ghost energy. They weren't even doing what they like to do. Everybody does what somebody else shows them, or what their preference is, or what feels good to them, and then I would follow. And then I realized that these relationships where I went to go look for an emotional connection, which I should have had it within me, it was basically ghost energy. Because they're not doing what they want to do. I'm not doing what I want to do. I don't even have a clue what my preference is. So that's what we call ghost energy. Because it's not the person. It's the person before that and before that and before that. So through my awakening, I learned a lot about myself. And how many energies I carried. Because, as people's energy we picked up, those are also egos that we pick up along the way, which is everyone's energies. And I had been through so much trauma in my life that I had literally picked up over 30 egos. So through the awakening, I had to evaluate every ego and see what I had picked up, understood what I had picked up that ego, what I had picked up those behaviors. You want me to emphasize choice?
Rough. Delicate.
How my preference was. If I wanted it soft, if I wanted it rough, or, I know this sounds explicit, but I actually did a YouTube video on this on our YouTube channel. And many women have seen it and have agreed that a lot of us, especially as women, we don't really get to choose for ourselves. It's what we're seeing, it's what we're taught, it's what somebody else tells us. Oh, okay. What I was saying was that was what we do in yoga for trauma. See, I've never even heard of trauma yoga, to be honest with you. We live in Texas, in the Austin area. But I will really have to check that out. But I've just learned how to meditate, and I've learned how to communicate, and it's helped me a lot to let things go. And also I write. I write a lot. I write poetry. I write in a journal. But okay, you sell pure romance, so you educate and empower women on their sexual health. See, that's wonderful. But yeah, I hadn't really heard of it before either. Well, I'm glad it's helped you. But it seems like you've come a long way. Yeah, I used to write poetry when I was younger, and then I stopped because... Are you thirsty? Are you
Drinking a cup of coffee?
Are you drinking a cup of coffee right now?
Who's the person with the beard she's thinking about?
Who's the person with a beard that you're thinking about right now? Yes, I feel your energy. I just drank water, LOL. Yes.
Okay, I saw it in a coffee cup. So she's a coffee drinker.
Did you drink it in a coffee cup?
She's used to drinking it in a coffee cup.
Or just a regular cup?
Because I saw a coffee cup.
Picked up your energy that you were thirsty. I know that sounds funny. Plus, I don't know if you watched some of our... Can't think of someone with a beard.
Maybe OSC lines. Maybe she likes beard.
Nope, I was joking. LOL. Well, I don't know if you've seen some of our posts, but my husband also developed the ability of mind reading. And he can pick up people's thoughts, he can pick up their egos, he can see a lot of things. That's what helped me, because I have forgotten some of my trauma and I had like shoved it in the back of my head. Because as women, we just shove things in the back of our head so we can go on. And then we forget they're there, but through the awakening, everything came to surface and like erupted. All of my ugliness within started to come without, and I couldn't stop it. So it was really hard for me to accept everything, and to also let go of all the shame and shadows I carried around. It was very hard, but I feel a lot better. I came clean about my life, my wrongdoings, what I had done wrong to my husband, what I had done wrong to others. And instead of carrying that weight around, it literally changed my life. In that other live, were y'all talking about me as the ego with a black dress and a curly fro?
Oh, that in the when you were in live with Conscience.
You were live with Conscience.
Yeah. I think I know who that is, yeah.
Oh, okay. He remembers you. Isn't that weird? Imagine what it's like for me.
Tell her what's even weirder about the guy Conscience. Is his ego is a female as well.
The guy Conscience that you watch, his ego is a female as well, because he can also see people's egos. Yes, he also sees people's egos, and when he calls people out, especially on live, they all leave.
Or they freak out, change the subject.
Or they freak out and change the subject.
Or laugh, because they know I'm right.
Or laugh. Today, we actually mentored a girl from Germany that wants to go through a spiritual awakening. And that's what we do. We help mentor people to go through an awakening, because like my husband literally has the recipe for an awakening. And we also help women with trauma. In our community, we have been awakening many women. We have worked with a mother and her 3 children. We have currently we are working with another female, and now her mother and her sister are also wanting the awakening.
I feel like her ego's her mother, though, too.
So that's what we're doing. But like with me, I had over 30 egos. I had to get rid of all of them to become my higher conscious self. Which once I got clear is when I developed my abilities. I'm a feeler. I'm starting to get visions. But was a full-blown narcissist, to be honest with you, over a year ago. I didn't know any better. It was learned behavior. That's what I was taught. Like I told you, I didn't know love. I didn't know what empathy even was. I literally had to learn about love. I'm doing a workshop in September for women who have dealt with trauma and sexual trauma. We will be practicing a class all August to prepare for this September. My ego is my mother. No. Yes, he saw your ego. It is your mother.
Yeah.
I just finally came into myself. Like, I finally got